This episode of Greenhouse Grower to Grower is brought to you by Westbrook Greenhouse Systems, a trusted North American leader in complete greenhouse solutions. From structures and heating to curtains, benches, and full installation, Westbrook delivers systems built to perform and built to last. With a team known for long-term expertise and reliability, you can trust Westbrook with your next greenhouse project, whether it's glass or poly, open roof or freestanding. Learn more at westbrooksystems.com. Connect with them on LinkedIn or visit them at major industry shows across North America.
Welcome to Greenhouse Grower to Grower, the podcast where we're shaping the future of floriculture one conversation at a time. We talk with the growers, leaders, and innovators shaping tomorrow's greenhouse industry today. From market trends, next generation plants, and innovative production, to the challenges and breakthroughs redefining what it means to grow. I'm Brian Sparks, editor of Greenhouse Grower. Let's dig into what's next together.
Jazmin Albarran is the main voice behind Seed Your Future, which works to build connections between the horticulture industry and students of all ages. In between her many travels to visit with students and industry members, I caught up with Jazmin to talk about Seed Your Future's biggest accomplishments in 2025, how students were able to connect personally with horticulture companies at industry events in 2026, and the new Powered by You and Am Horticulture programs designed to heighten the awareness of Seed Your Future and the many careers that can be found in horticulture. Check out our conversation, and right after that, keep listening for a live check-in from California Spring Trials with our own editor, Marisa Reyes.
I am back home today, which is why I wanted us to talk this week. I went from, where was I? I had an event in Baltimore, and then I had an event in Raleigh for a couple of days. And then from there, I went to Chicago, and then from Chicago to Miami. And it's, talking to educators, talking to industry, being a part of different conferences. So the SAF, Society of American Florists, they have a next gen conference. So again, that next generation, trying to make sure that they feel connected to the industry. And those are the future, business owners. So we want them to know about Seed Your Future's work now.
Yeah.
Which is a part of that awareness. We want people to understand that, one, that we're here, and two, what are we doing for all segments of the horticulture industry? Because we're not just ornamental. Right. We're turf, we're, the public sector, public gardens, we are all the things plants and all the things industry, because we don't just talk about be a horticulturist. We talk about the marketing, the communications, the sales, the research, all those things that you can do within this industry to elevate it, so that parents and educators can see that these are STEM careers, not it's not just a hobby.
Yeah, well, and that's always been one of the things that I most appreciate about what you guys do, especially if you go to the resources page on your website. Is you can find careers in this industry where you don't have to touch or see a plant at all, but whatever your interest is, there's a field in horticulture for you, which is great to see. Well, I want to thank you for taking some time today to have the conversation here. I know, I think we talked probably about this time last year or so it's good to catch up on, how the past year has gone and what you guys are working on now. So, before we talk about 2026 and beyond that, really, maybe if we want to look back at 2025 and, how you were able to accomplish some of the goals that you set out to achieve last year.
It's been, so I've now, in May, will be 5 years with Seed Your Future.
Okay.
It's gone by pretty fast, in a good way, because I've had to learn so much. And the first couple of years was really getting to know industry.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, now here are some changes I can implement for Seed Your Future. Here are some things that we can grow on. In 2024, we did a strategic plan refresher to really narrow and focus the scope and our attention and how we can really get to those things. And in 2025, we started that year one of that strategic plan and really engaging our volunteers. And I want to thank them all, from board members to committee members, because they'll help us. They're the ones helping us do all this work. We have a marketing committee, impact, programs and education, awareness and outreach, and fundraising. They are in the trenches with me, making sure that we are creating the best resources to highlight industry the best to those students and teachers and parents. But then also, how are we getting the resources that we have for industry in front of industry as well? I think one of the the proudest moments for me from 2025 is that seed to STEM educator professional development that we're doing. We're bringing
Yeah.
educators from across the country to a central location for them to experience horticulture as a career. The better that they understand industry, the better they'll be able to share it with their students the way that it is.
Right.
Everybody knows landscaping, but they only think about the person mowing the lawn or the farmer in overalls from like the 1920s, right? They don't realize how much STEM is in the industry. And the teacher can articulate that to their students, they're going to be better equipped to have those conversations. So the lessons from 2024 that was geared towards science teachers has been downloaded by 2,000 teachers from across the country.
Oh,
So
wow.
now
Nice.
we're emailing those teachers and asking which lessons did you use? How did you implement them? Can we give your students some surveys to see if they're learning? So gauging and getting data from those teachers.
Yeah.
In 2025, we had cross-curricular teachers, so English, art, math, science,
Hmm.
and business, because we wanted them to understand that it doesn't matter what you're teaching, you can prepare students for this industry because it is a business, because it has departments like many others. And so those teachers we met in Chicago. We took them to the Impact Baseball Stadium so they can learn about turf. No
Okay.
one wonders, what it takes for that grass, and it has to be at a very specific, height and absorption. And again, STEM. They went to ball, of course, and learned about, and they got to see communications, publications, the seed, and logistics and sales. We spent the
Yeah.
whole day at ball. And then we went to Midwest ground covers and Midwest training, and then
Hmm.
they got to swing by Kennecott Brothers to learn about the floral industry wholesaler. They brought one of their retailers in and they did a floral design with the teachers. And then we brought in a couple other speakers during the lunch and learn so they can learn about horticulture therapy. Brock Martindale from Corteva AgriScience talked about what they did. We had
Yeah.
Illinois State University, and we had Leader Greenhouses. Lizzie from there came and talked a little bit about what it meant to be a part of commercial greenhouse. And so
Sure.
just we stuff the time as much as we can. We're making sure these teachers are absorbing as much as they can because we know they're going to touch anywhere from 300 to 1,000 students in the next couple of years. And again, the better that they are equipped to have those conversations, the better. So we are in the process of getting those 2025 lessons out in front of as many teachers as possible so that we can
Sure.
hit those big downloads as well. So that's exciting. We
Yeah.
also started a webinar series last year. Well, we started it in the fall of 2024, just kind of a pilot, and it
Hmm.
took off. So we have continued to do those. And as of November of 2025, we had over 1,400 registrations. We get about 50 or so, 60 people that attend live, and then a
Okay.
lot of people will watch the recordings afterwards. And I was pretty shocked. So those were geared towards college students in conversations with the horticulture college students saying, I'm not sure what direction I want to go in. I'm
Yeah.
not fully aware of all the careers that are out there, all the companies. I said, well, let's bring some young professionals to talk a little bit about what they did and how they found their path and their career and things that they did within the first couple of 10 years to show students that it's not linear. You're going to bounce
Yeah.
around, you're going to do stuff you might not like, and then you'll find what you really enjoy. And both are very important aspects of career journeys. But we had parents joining,
Huh.
we had elementary teachers, high school, middle school, college professors, career changers. We get international students joining, and we're not going to turn anyone away.
Right.
Anyone that wants to learn about industry, we want them to join us. So that's been a very pleasant surprise, and excited to continue to have those webinars throughout the year going into 2026.
Nice. Well, I think it's great that that combination of classroom learning, either in the classroom or virtual classroom learning, and then those hands-on experiences as well to show this is what a career in horticulture could actually look like. And I think the biggest part of that is again, whether it's through a webinar, whether it's through an in-person experience, hearing those stories directly from people who have gone through it. And as you said, it's not necessarily always a linear approach. You have the ability to bounce around and try different things and see what the best fit for you is.
Absolutely. And then we put the recordings on our YouTube channel, so anyone that stumbles upon that can continue to watch it. We've had over 300 views of the series that we have going so far. So it's meant to
Okay.
be, like you said, an ongoing educational tool for students to really learn about industry. But if anybody else wants to look at it, by all means.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, and as you get into 2026, and I know one of the big things that kind of kicked off the year was, bringing students and prospective, career folks directly to events like Mance and other shows to, have some of these same conversations in a setting like that. I ran into, when I was at Mance this year, just every time I would walk by a booth, I'd see, these pockets of students together talking to an exhibitor, and that seemed to go off very well this year, I think.
He did. So that was started also in 2025.
Yeah.
I was at a 4-H conference in DC, and everywhere I go to public events, I will have plants on my booth, my table.
Hmm.
And I had a student come over and say, I like plants. I like horticulture. First of all, I was like, wait, you know what horticulture means? You know it. I was already impressed.
Yeah.
And the student happened to be from Columbus. And I said, well, have you ever heard of Cultivate? It happens every year in your backyard, and had no idea. And
Okay.
so I invited him. I was like, hey, if you want to come with me, I'm happy to walk you through the trade show and just talk a little bit about careers. And automatically said yes. And then he said, can I bring my teacher? Can I bring some friends? I'm like, okay, yeah, if they want to come by all means. And so they came, and then we had some Texas A&M horticulture undergrad and PhD students join us as well. So we had
Okay.
about 20 students. Um, walk them through the trade show, because you think about someone that's not from industry, you walk into a trade show that has 1,000 to 5,000 booths. That's very intimidating. You don't necessarily are going to know what's the difference between them. And so we did a very guided tour of, these are brokers, these are breeders, these are
Yeah.
suppliers, etc. All of our partners that we have within industry. And one, industry loved talking to the teachers and the students, and they appreciated that they wanted to learn about industry.
Right.
And then those young people really were, I mean, they had no idea, which I knew they would. I knew they would walk into that trade show and just be amazed at the automation that happens in industry, and all
Oh,
the things
sure.
that it has to offer. And so we said, well, let's keep doing this. Let's,
Hmm.
make this bigger, and make more connections for these students when these events are happening in their backyard and they have no idea.
Right. Well, I mean, you go to a show like that, and yeah, I mean, Cultivate's intimidating for somebody who goes every year, I think. So, but you go there and you get a chance to see the automation in action. You see the plants, and I think most importantly, you see the people who are involved in the industry as well, because there's that people connection to the industry, and being able to talk to folks who have again gone through various roles without their horticulture within their careers, and being able to I'm sure they're excited to have that conversation with that next generation coming in.
Absolutely, because they feel like they're giving back, right? They're helping someone find their way into industry. I have talked to so many people within industry that said, I didn't know my current job existed.
Mm,
Right? Like somebody tapped me on the shoulder, or I stumbled upon this position. So here are people that even that know horticulture still discover something new.
yeah.
And I want students to have the best exposure to as many aspects of the industry sooner than later, so that they stay within industry and can see how much they can do within it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you look at something like the emergence of AI, for example. It's something that somebody who's been in the industry for a while is trying to figure out, okay, how can I make this fit in best with my operation? And here comes a student prospective future employee who's also interested, but maybe they've got the ability to dig into things a little deeper and think about it in a totally different way than somebody who's been around for a while and has their mindset over here's the way things should happen. Now I can talk to somebody else who has this completely new perspective to bring to the discussion.
Yeah, I agree. And especially this young generation that they are tech natives.
Hmm.
They're used to the AI, so we have to take advantage of those strengths that they have and bring that innovation into industry.
Sure. I want to talk a little bit more about this coming year, and what are some of the goals that you've set for Seed Your Future, and then anything new that you guys are working on as you move forward.
So I don't know if you've seen them already, but we have the Powered by You. It's a
Yeah.
campaign marketing where we're highlighting our volunteers and our donors to increase the brand awareness of Seed Your Future. There are
Hmm.
still many companies that have no idea we exist
Hmm.
or that know exactly what we are doing for them, what Seed Your Future is doing for industry, raising again that awareness of all these horticulture careers and how to come into industry. So we're going to have two of those videos a month for the entire year, which have
Okay.
been received really well. We are starting something called I Am Horticulture. It's going to
Okay.
be a 40 under 40. Again, professionals talking a little bit about I am horticulture, and this is what I do within it. A different marketing campaign geared towards the public, geared
Hmm.
towards students. So they again can see those faces and see that passion. This next generation, they don't want to be at a desk. They want to be a part of careers that are impacting the planet, that are impacting sustainability, that are
Sure.
impacting physical, mental, and emotional health. Horticulture is doing that. All
Yeah.
aspects is doing that, but we don't always do a great job at articulating that.
Hmm.
And so we are going to be coaching anybody that wants to participate in this I Am Horticulture campaign, how to be able to talk about their job within those terms so that we can excite young people about industry and they can see the passion. There is so much passion within this industry. People love what they do, they love working with the plants, and they love working with the people in the industry. If
Yeah.
we can get that message out to more young people, more career changers, I think many more would be inclined to choose horticulture.
Oh yeah. Well, and as you said, I mean, there's programs like that in the industry, but they tend to be more, B2B and focused within the industry. So the fact that you can take, the same approach, but then extend it to outside of the industry. And I want to go back to one of the other things you said as well. You talked about, this next generation of prospective industry members has a key interest in environmentalism and sustainability. And we talk with, with growers out there who, whether it's the development of a biologicals program, for example, and using that as a way to, recruit new talent by showing them, we also care about the future of this industry, the environment, et cetera. Here are some of the steps that we're actively taking to, meet that challenge in the coming years.
Yeah, that's important. And this young generation, the first thing they do before they even apply to any career, they're going on your website, they're going on your Instagram or your
Mm,
social media. They want to see who you are as a company. They want to be able to see your company culture because, again, they want to be a part of careers that are pouring into them and that are helping those environments around them. And so we have to do a better job at communicating that across different platforms so that they
sure.
will pick us.
Yeah. How are you looking at then at some of those platforms? And because, those tend to change so much just from year to year, I think, and trying to keep track of, how young people are using, various tools to communicate with each other and just learn more. How are you guys kind of tracking some of those trends?
Those are conversations we're having with college students, we're having with high school students. Where are you getting your information from? What helps you determine the career path you want to go into? What would help you decide what that interest might be? And so it's conversations at events that we're going to. We poll our students in all of our email listservs when we're doing those live webinars. We're asking them, what career do you want to learn more about? And so we're getting the information straight from them.
Sure.
Our internship survey, the data from those students saying this is what makes a viable experiential learning internship for me, then we use that information and poured it right back into the employer information that we put together. So we're having them tell us what resonates with them and where are they going to get their information.
Okay. Okay. As you talk to folks, not necessarily at the high school level, but as you get into, horticulture college students, for example, are you seeing any trends in terms of, enrollment in some of those programs and how that path at the higher level is coming along with future industry participants?
So if you go to the Seed Your Future website, every
Mm,
5 years we do an enrollment survey across the board.
okay.
And the last one we did was in 2024, and enrollment is going up, which
Okay.
is amazing. And it was happening before the pandemic even hit, which
Yeah.
is really great. I think because of that focus that students are having more on, I want to be outdoors, I want to be in nature, I want to be surrounded by things that are going to impact my own physical, mental, and emotional health. They are finding horticulture, but there are still many more students that we want to get in front of to
Sure.
make sure that they are aware of industry.
Okay. Is there anything new this coming year, perhaps in beyond, that we haven't talked about yet that's being discussed in terms of, some of the new initiatives that you can continue to tackle?
Definitely, it would be that new internship packet of information. We
Right.
have the employer guide and worksheets. We have a guide for students on how to find internships because a lot of them told us they don't always know where to look. They don't know what information needed to apply. And then we
Yeah.
have a set of guides for the universities. So because they don't all require internships, and some maybe only require one for the 4 years.
Yeah.
So helping them build stronger pipelines of those internships available within their area and across the country, because some students want to be able to travel.
Yeah.
So making sure that those students have access to that information. Those conversations that we've had of the sooner the better that you know something that you don't want to do is really good to find that out during your college years so that you find once you start applying to jobs, you're going into something that you're more interested in and are not there. I don't think there's a waste of time even when you do
Right.
something you don't love, but the sooner you can say, okay, yeah, I don't want to do that and move into something that you do, that impacts your own mental, physical, and emotional health of loving what you do every day.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you say that because I had that exact conversation with the head of a horticulture department about a year and a half ago, and they were saying the exact same thing. Internships are good in a couple of different ways. Number one, you might learn that, you want to be involved in this industry, but perhaps in a different, either it's in the same path that you join that internship for, or you take a similar path within the industry. But you can also experience, and to your point, it's better to learn this sooner rather than later. Maybe this isn't the best fit for me, and not every industry is perfect for everybody. But the sooner you learn that, the better it is for you, so you don't find yourself, stuck in a situation that you don't want to be in either, I think.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
Yeah.
And also, our Seed to STEM 2026 is geared towards high school floral culture and horticulture teachers. So, a new
Okay.
cohort this year. There are more and more of those horticulture and floral design classes being reincorporated into high schools. A lot of them were done away with because the perception was, oh, that's where you send the bad students. That's
Right.
where, you send students that aren't going to be anything, which is very unfortunate because, again, that perspective of this industry is not STEM because they don't realize they haven't walked into a commercial greenhouse and know that, you got to grow a million poinsettias for December or whatever, you call you flower you plant, you call it.
Yeah.
We need them to understand that. And because these teachers understand the industry and know it exists, we want to empower them as well with resources that they can create to help hundreds of other teachers across the country, especially as more and more of those horticulture classes are being brought back. So greenhouses are being added to schools. Greenhouses that were just sitting there are now
Hmm.
starting to be, fixed up and reused again. So we want to make sure those teachers have resources to connect their students to our careers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and to your point there too, I mean, this industry is constantly evolving. So you could have a conversation 2 or 3 years ago that now, whether it's something, again, we talked about AI already, but you see the emergence of, like the CEA industry, for example. And there's industries and crop segments that may not have been, hugely popular a couple of years ago that now all of a sudden are just expanding rapidly. So the fact that you can kind of keep a track on where those trends are going and respond quickly as needed, I think is important.
Yeah, yeah, we kind of feel like a triage between the students and teacher parents to industry, and then what are the industry needs and what they're seeing back to students. Because we've had some industry say, sometimes the students will, or the young professionals, the college students will just not show up. Well, that's not okay. This is not a
Right.
volunteer opportunity. Once you're doing an internship, it's a job.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that they understand, again, those requirements and how they should be showing up to industry as well, because it is a meaningful opportunity for both.
Yeah. I want to go back to the industry side for a second. And just, I know, you mentioned the fact that there's still are certain pockets where they're not familiar with what Seed Your Future is doing. So I do want to ask about, for folks who aren't as familiar, and I mean, we try and talk about what Seed Your Future does constantly. So, but how can people learn more about Seed Your Future? How can they get involved, and how can they, go a step further and support the initiatives that Seed Your Future is a part of?
So for those that don't know, Seed Your Future is the national nonprofit that is solely promoting careers in the industry, promoting horticulture as a STEM career, as a fulfilling, rewarding career for anyone that wants to be in the outdoors, in nature, surrounded by plants. We are from that middle school to career. Our resources start at that middle school age, but then you need something different as a high schooler. You need something different as a college or university student. So our resources grow with the students. And during the pandemic, we got a lot of calls from career changers looking to
Yeah.
come into industry. And so we've now make sure that we have resources and are able to connect them wherever they are. So regardless of people's backgrounds, we want them to understand that you can have transferable careers to come into industry. So visit our website, seedyourfuture.org, learn a little bit about our resources. And as I mentioned earlier, we have several committees. We are always looking for people from diverse backgrounds in industry, the different sectors within industry to support that work. If we have more of those voices and minds in these committees, the more of the work that we can do and impact getting that information out to those teachers, students, and parents. Participate in Green Career Week. We just had it.
Hmm.
The spring one was just last week. Start preparing now if you couldn't participate for the October one. And again, we give the timeline of the second week of October, but if that doesn't work for you, do it the month before, do it the week after. We don't care. We just really want industry to be out here connecting with high schools, colleges around them so that these students understand you are an employer in their backyard. I
Yeah.
talked to so many people that's, even working at greenhouse at Green Circle Growers from
Yeah.
the outside, you have no idea how many amazing orchids are in there.
Yeah.
And so we have to make sure that we are connecting these students to our companies, to our roles, so that they know we're an option. Um, Engaging with these students at trade shows. We are going to, continue to, we went to Man's TPIE. We're hoping to be at Cultivate again. If anybody knows they're going to have a booth and want to participate, let us know. If you want to be a volunteer and helping us guide the teachers and students around the trade show, it's important because we want to have someone that can answer questions, that can really talk about the different type of businesses that the students are seeing.
Yeah.
Um, we often get asked by different school districts across the country if we can have somebody join a career fair for their high school students.
Hmm.
So again, making sure that these students know that could be a part of your Green Career Week participation as well. Participate in that I Am Horticulture. We would love to get as many participants as possible to be able to highlight the diverse companies and careers and offer paid internships.
Yeah.
Get those out there. We will share them on our website. We will send emails to all of those students and parents and teachers and college horticulture departments in our email listserv so that they know these are available and out there. And of course, donate. We are a nonprofit and we always need the funds to be able to do all the work. So you can donate, you can host a fundraiser for our mission. I will take it all.
Well, and just going back to Green Career Week for a second, I'm glad that you guys have, that going on twice a year, because I mean it kind of shows the seasonality of the
Yes.
industry as well. And springtime is such a busy time for so many in this industry that you might think, oh, I want to support this, but I don't know if I have the time to commit to something like this
Mhm.
time of year. Let's look later on in the year. Then let's talk about October as you're starting to plan for next year. That's as great a time as any to have these sort of discussions.
I agree. And that's why we did it twice a year because one, the industry is so massive and the seasonality for all the sectors is so different that we didn't want anybody to feel left out. And so we said, we'll prompt you twice a year. You participate when you can, how you can. We have a
Mm,
new course on our website that gives you ideas, walk you through ideas. And also, we've created is it 4 slide decks for greenhouse, nursery, floral, and public gardens to be
okay.
able to use. So we're trying to do everything we can to encourage industry and make it as easy as possible for people to participate in any way that they can. And then same on social media, use hashtag Green Career Week when you're interviewing your staff and asking them, how did you know horticulture was a career for you?
Right.
Why have you stayed in this industry so long? And many people that I talk to have been even in a position for 5 to 10, 20 years long. Why? We want students to see that passion and hear from industry. So even in Green Career Week, there are three different ways you can participate: going into a classroom, having the students come to you, or participating just on social media.
Okay. As you look ahead, just in general, what excites you the most about the future of this industry then? I know we've talked about a lot already, but is there something in particular that just really excites you about where this industry is going?
I really am excited about the AI and automation. I know it scares a lot of people, but I think that is a great way to make industry so much more efficient. Plants are going to need people, right? There's no changing that. We're always going to have people in this industry. But if we can prepare others to be able to really increase that marketing, right? Increase how we are talking about industry and pulling data from consumers, what they're looking for, I think will be a really fun thing to be able to see. But just the impact of plants in our mental, physical, and emotional health, I think more and more people are talking about that and are experiencing it. We have horticulture therapy that is out there and can be used to work with so many different populations that need that kind of support. And I tell students all the time, the careers that you are going to be applying for don't even exist yet. So I'm excited to see how industry continues to innovate and change over the next 5, 10 years, with the generations that are coming that are expecting different things.
This episode of Greenhouse Grower to Grower is brought to you by Westbrook Greenhouse Systems, a trusted North American leader in complete greenhouse solutions. From structures and heating to curtains, benches, and full installation, Westbrook delivers systems built to perform and built to last. With a team known for long-term expertise and reliability, you can trust Westbrook with your next greenhouse project, whether it's glass or poly, open roof or freestanding. Learn more at westbrooksystems.com. Connect with them on LinkedIn or visit them at major industry shows across North America.
So right now it's about 8 o'clock in the evening here in the Cleveland area, but I'm talking to Marisa Reyes, who is out in California for her first California Spring Trials event. So, hey, Marisa, how are you?
I am doing great. I've had such an excellent past couple days, and honestly, I'm so sad that we only have one more day left of this. I mean, the traveling from place to place can be a little exhausting, but when you
Yeah.
get to all the different spots, it's so beautiful. It's worth it.
Oh, that's nice. Well, before we get to some of the things that you've seen, just again, this being your first cast experience, what first impressions? What do you think so far?
Oh my God, all of the color, it's just incredible. I mean, every spot, it's just like something for your eyes. And it's just like I can't take it in enough. And there's so much to see. And even with things that aren't new varieties necessarily, I mean, it's hard to see every plant that exists, on the market. So a lot of
Right.
the stuff too is still new to me, even if it's been out for a little bit. So I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I want to plant in my own garden. I'm just really impressed by all the varieties and I mean, the views, if specifically Doom and Orange was at such a beautiful spot at this
Oh, yeah.
winery,
Yep.
and the birds were flying out into the air, and I'm like, oh my God, am I dreaming? I feel like I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I
I know
mean,
you guys get
it's
to
just been incredible.
you guys got to spend last night in Pismo Beach, which I mean, talk about a view there. We always, for those listening, we always do the hotel right along the water there. So hopefully the weather was okay for you.
Yeah, no, it's been great. We haven't had
Okay.
any rain. It's just been the perfect like 70 degrees. I mean, I will
Nice.
say at Dooman we were melting a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's been so much fun and I really love the group that we have. I mean, it's me, Robin and Kristen and Alan and it's been incredible. Alan is just such a well of knowledge and I've learned a lot of really fun, cool, just tips about plants, but also just like how this plant got its name and
Yeah.
we've just been having a great time and we've been having fun with it. And yeah, you have a lot of really cool videos to look forward to, I will say.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Well, and I mean, I know this is your first time this year. Last year was my first time. I think we talked recently that the way that I learned what was really standing out at an event like Cast was I walk right behind Alan Armitage, and I walk him because he's been there for so many years, so it takes a lot to impress him.
Right.
So when he walks down an aisle and then he stops and he backs up and he looks at a plant again, I think that's when you know that you're really seeing something special.
Yeah, absolutely. And our day two, him and I had just about the same list of plants that caught our eye. So
Yeah.
it's fun to see, and we're all different people with different tastes and different palates. And it's just nice to know like we're aligned on a lot of things. And specifically, I mean, so far my favorite stop has been Doom and Orange. I mean, the color there was incredible. They have so many cool plants coming out. I mean, we
Yeah.
all know about their Summer Bees Dahlia series, but this year they have two new colors. One was a salmon bicolor and the other one was Red Star. And I am so excited about both of those, specifically the salmon bicolor. And that one
Okay.
we won't see on market until 2027. But it follows this, vintage kind of color palette we're seeing consumers looking at, retailers wanting, and, especially for the cut flower market, especially weddings for the cut flower market.
Yeah.
People are going for those vintage pastels. And that's not just something we saw at Duman. It's been very relevant at every
Mm.
single stop we've gone to. There, every breeder has something out that's following that trend, and I
Yeah.
mean, it's incredible. And I find myself also leaning that way and now wanting to plant a ton of that stuff in my own yard. So, I
Sure.
mean, it's just really, really cool to see everything. There was a honey gold sticks. Gosh, and I can't even think of the name right now. Well, it's an Agastache, and it
Yeah.
was beautiful. I've never seen a yellow like that before, and the plant habit was just gorgeous. So, I mean, I probably have a list of like 100 things I'm looking forward to seeing as a
Oh, I'm
consumer.
sure. Yeah. Well, and just for those listening to this conversation, so the way that we typically work California spring trials is the team out there at the end of each day will kind of get together and decide, okay, well, what were some of your favorites? What were some of your favorites? They'll do short write-ups on 5 or 6 varieties a piece, and then they'll send them to those of us who are, I'll say, stuck back home. And so then we put together the content and the slideshows that we post every day from it. So, but I can imagine having to have that conversation and decide, okay, I saw so many things today. How am I going to narrow it down to just a small handful?
It's nearly impossible, but we're doing our best. And if you haven't read
Yeah,
any of those articles, you definitely should. I mean, there's great insight, and especially where Alan and I feel like they can fit into grower programs and how they reflect into retail. So
yeah.
if you're not reading them, you're missing out. So definitely go and check that out.
Well, and to one of your points earlier too, you talk about, new varieties or new series, and it used to be there were a lot more, brand new series that will be introduced at Cast. You don't see as much of that now, but what you do see is improvements and enhancements, whether just, in
Yes.
new colors that are available or varieties that, have better cold tolerance, better heat tolerance. That seems to be more and more the focus of Cast every year.
Yeah, and like Cicada has a great double zinnia program, and they just came out with Fire Improved, and it has
Yeah,
a bigger flower, stronger stems. So yeah, of course, like we have plants that are already on the market, but then they're going back and refining them a little bit. So it's easier for the grower, it's easier for the consumer, and I think that's what we all want, right? We want to bring home a plant that's easy to grow. Growers want to grow a plant that's going to be easy to grow. It's not going to take up a bunch of bench space, and maybe you don't need a PGR for this. So it's
yeah.
been really, really fun to see just this reflected throughout cast and in so many different ways.
Are there any other trends that you noticed along the way outside of, just the new colors, et cetera?
Yeah, there's been a lot of programs where we're combining, different categories of plants, whether that's an
Right.
annual and a perennial and a tropical into one finished product. You see that a lot with Garden Party.
Yeah.
I saw at, gosh, what was the second place we went to? Syngenta, which by the way, incredible. They had this like passport vibe, you're going around and all to all the different countries, and it was very cool. But they had a lot of containers that combined edibles and perennials, which I
Okay.
think needs to be happening more because even just in the gardening world, people view it as like, okay, I have to separate the two, but you don't. They can have
Right.
a marriage and live happily together. So I've been seeing a lot of that, and also strawberries are trending, question mark. I've been seeing them all over the place, and Syngenta actually has this mini strawberry that's probably the size of my thumbnail.
Hmm.
So I'm really excited to get my hands on that, and also growing. any sort of vegetable that's in a pot. Like I saw plants that were just hanging from the ceiling. Now I'm like, okay, I have to put all my tomatoes this year in a container. So
Yeah.
just a lot of that. Of course, the pastels, I mean, it's been at every single stop. And one thing that every breeder is doing is smaller and compact plants. I mean,
Okay.
that has been a very relevant thing everywhere. They're like, okay, tabletop plants, here it is, but also they're thinking about how that's going to help the grower with bench space. I mean, and improvements everywhere. We're seeing rust resistant daylilies, like a full
Okay.
series.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, right. Like that's incredible. So, I mean, there's just been so much that's been going on. I saw today a rosemary that's lime green with a variegation, and you do not see that like
Yeah.
ever. So I'm really excited about that one. Think Plants had the Seaside Serenade series and Kitty Hawk. I mean, and that was a blue pastel, but like I said, you're seeing that almost everywhere. And
Yeah.
that's really interesting to me. And tabletop plants are growing. You want something that you don't have to like really try super hard to look over, when you're talking to someone and sitting down. So people are putting forward the idea of like, we don't have a lot of space to grow.
Right.
People don't own houses the same way they used to. They're renting the
Yeah.
spaces are smaller. So container plants, water-wise plants, drought tolerance, of course. I mean, it's been incredible. Pollinators too. I mean,
Yep.
that's forever and always. But yeah, there's such an emphasis on that and just container programs. And I've been enjoying all of this.
Well, it always seems like, whatever you're talking about, you always have a breeder that will set the trend in one area, and not that every other breeder follows, but one breeder will start something, and then you'll start to see other plants in those categories take shape. And really, all of the folks that you talk to have their own specialty, in certain areas that,
Yeah.
if they're not excelling in one area, they're certainly doing something in another.
Mhm. Yeah, even cut flowers. I mean, Sakata had some really, really beautiful Lysianthus. I
Yeah.
mean, I can't even remember what it was. Rosita Red was just phenomenal. And it was like two colors in one plant. You have this light pink that it ages, but it opens this like vibrant, beautiful red. And the stock that I've been seeing
Hmm.
everywhere. I mean, the fragrance, you'll see. Alan and I took this great video about it. And I mean, I'm just really excited about everything that I've been seeing so far. And tomorrow is a really big day. We're going to be at Ball tomorrow, so
Yeah.
we have a lot to see. And then Green Fuse is our last stop. So, I mean, it feels like it's just the end, but I also feel like we're just getting started, and I need more days. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember when you were putting our previews together that we'd run in the magazine and online, and it's like every time I talked to you, you were like, "Okay, I've seen a picture of this. I can't wait to see it in person now." So this has been your chance
well,
to
yeah,
really do
even
that.
Benari.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Benari, I promoted them for when we did our cast preview as something that was great for a holiday program, and that was like basically their entire stop today. I mean, they
Sure.
were promoting their new Pentas, and they had four
Hmm.
colors in their street art series, and a lot of it was just showcasing how this can fit into a holiday program, especially like July with 4th of July, and then we have Memorial Day, and these are like very hot holidays, and all of these plants are going to withstand that. And I saw a begonia that had this bronze leaf. It was bronze leaf espresso, which
Huh.
was really cool, and it had this bright red flower. And the way that they contrasted each other, I mean, I've never seen a dark leaf begonia like that. And
Mm.
what was fun is they had a play on it because it's espresso. So they were like, "Here, we have espresso martinis," but it was 9 a.m. So we're like, "I don't think I can do that." But it's just been so much fun. I mean, and everybody you meet too, and which is another thing, working remotely, we talk to people all the time in the industry. And for me, this has been really fun because I'm getting to meet some of these people in person,
Yeah.
and it's just great. It's been phenomenal.
You mentioned that espresso martini, and I had that exact internal conversation last year because last year Bernard was actually our last stop, and it was the same thing. And I handed this drink, and I was okay. Should I? Shouldn't I? I think I wound up passing on it because we still had
Oh yeah.
the rest of the greenhouse to see there. So no, I totally get it.
Yep.
And I'm glad
Yeah, I
you
went
mentioned
for the tea instead.
right. Good call. Good call. I'm glad you mentioned the videos too, because as those are who are listening to this now, you'll see slideshows and images and brief reports of what we've seen online. But to your point, that's only a taste of what we're going to be offering to you in the next few weeks and even months here. So I know you said you guys have been recording a lot of videos there. So we're going to be rolling out those videos across the next couple of months, in addition to even more slideshows that get into more detail on, things we couldn't capture in a single night. Otherwise, honestly, you guys would be up all hours of the night and hit these last couple of days, and you would just be dragging the whole time, which is something we don't want. So, but it's
Yeah.
nice because people too then just get to extend their virtual cast experience. I say, be able to see, for the next few weeks what you guys are seeing, and also point out too
Yeah.
for those listening, this is all going to lead up to Cultivate and our Evening of Excellence event, where we present a series of Medal of Excellence awards, many of them focused on varieties. And I know you and I probably talk as soon as you get back. So that's the next step is, okay, let's talk about what the favorites were, your favorites. The audience as a whole, we have a committee there who covers our Industry's Choice Award. It's a handful of, growers who've been to cast for several years, and they're going to decide, a winner in a category as well. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, because, there's going to be a lot more to see.
Absolutely. And it's the year of the azalea. I don't know if you
Mm.
knew that, but there was an azalea that we saw today that it was called Autumn Kiss, and it
Okay.
actually won a National Green Thumb Award, and it had so much bloom power. I mean, these plants were just massive. And I
Yeah.
know they're working on another color series for 2028. It's supposed to be like the classic purple. But I mean, just the way that they're improving these varieties has been really fun to see. And we got to see this cute little red bud, but it was a bronze leaf. And I
Okay.
have not seen that before. A really, really nice heart shape leaf as well. And it only grew to like 8 to 10 feet tall, and you can kind of treat it like a Japanese maple. So, I mean, just like all these different variations and
Sure.
even alterations of these plants and the way that we can use them in the landscape. I mean, the market is gonna look so cool in these next couple years.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, I won't keep you too much longer, because I know, you're on day 3 of day 4, and these are definitely long days, and you're doing some other work besides this. We've got an April issue to finish up here, so I know you're working on that too. So,
Yes, we do.
and as you said, tomorrow you got one more day seeing Ball, and then Greenfuse, and all the breeders are going to be at Greenfuse Grove. I'm sure you'll enjoy those quite a bit. So, any other last impressions that you want to mention from your first couple days at Cast?
Oh man. Well, I would say keep a lookout for the Dayscape Daylily series that's
Okay.
coming out. That is the rust resistant series. And as a grower, when you bring in a daylily, the first thing you want to do is push that out, but you don't have to do that with this series. So
Okay.
there's a lot of really cool stuff coming, and I'm excited to talk about it and to also, just market it in a way that we're growers are understanding how this could be a better program for them
Yeah.
if they've given up on a plant in the past. Like maybe you can bring it back, and this one's going to work for you. So we'll get into all of that when I get back, but I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, and I'm sad it's ending. I really am.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, best wishes on our last day there. And as you said, when you get back, we'll talk a lot more. Safe travels back, and, watch for more from our team, over the next few weeks and months.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for joining us. You can learn more about this and other topics at greenhousegrower.com, and you can also follow Greenhouse Grower on LinkedIn. Please subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, and please leave us a rating or review, as it helps other listeners find the show. The Greenhouse Grower to Grower podcast is produced by the team at Meister Media Worldwide. I'm Brian Sparks, editor of Greenhouse Grower.